Hello, Spirits of Vengeance, and welcome back to the Ghost Rider Vlog. So today we are going to be talking about, very briefly, about book number 49 from the Ghost Rider original run. In particular, we are talking about the story Wrath of the Matui, I think. Don't ask me to pronunciate anything that's not English, honestly. Essentially, the basic plot of the story is, and by the way, a very nice cover, a little action sequence with the Ghost Rider fighting what seems to be more or less a ghost of an Indian, and that's pretty accurate as to what will happen at certain points in the story, but not 100% accurate, but nice artwork anyway. Anywho, the basic story is that Johnny, after the events of last time, is back out in the middle of nowhere again. As he is traveling through, he suddenly, inexplicably turns to the Ghost Rider and reverts back again. Usually this is a sign that something in the works of satanic rituals and so forth are possibly summoning up the Ghost Rider's abilities because it's a reaction to a heavy amount of danger. Not long afterwards, he sees an avalanche and saves a construction worker. The construction worker manages to get his scuba gear back, saying that he's working on a nearby dam and that he needs it in order to check for water leaks, etc. But even then, Johnny Blaze still finds it a little bit odd. He takes the construction worker back, only to bump into an old Indian woman who is essentially shouting out threats to the both of them, and even calling Johnny Demon Rider, which is a bit awkward and a huge, essentially, warning light as to the nature of this old woman. Johnny decides that he needs to take a breath of fresh air, but also he needs to check on what was up with that spot where he changed into the Rider and back, because obviously something's out there. And he goes out there and he experiences the Ghost Indian. He chases after it, only to be shot with one of its arrows, and for the first time, the Rider itself has experienced massive amount of pain. Usually, even when it's been damaged, it usually doesn't feel that much pain in what it's doing. But that particular spiritual arrow to the chest, that apparently hurt. He is rendered back into Johnny Blaze and sees the old woman again, who also promptly disappears while still talking to him before his very eyes. So something's obviously up, and she's definitely in touch with something a bit beyond the average. So he goes to figure out what's going on. He decides that he's going to go back to the construction worker to rest for the night, only to overhear him and a couple of others talking about the fact that they are setting up explosives at the dam to flood a nearby town, which Johnny was not aware of, as well as to flood Indian burial sites, and that they plan to use scuba gear to try and hunt down a whole bunch of expensive artifacts and so forth, and claim them for their own and sell them for high prices, obviously. So Johnny goes off as the Rider to try and stop the guys, as they're apparently already setting up the explosives and they should be going off sometime soon. Once he gets there, the guys barely have enough time to choke out a "hey, we need to get out of here" before the entire explosion goes off, sending bodies flying in all directions. And the Ghost Rider tries to run off to the town in order to try and warn the people there before the flood hits. He is, however, stopped once again by the Ghost Indian, who also summons up the Thunderbirds, actual birds of black coloring in nature, who, when they open their eyes, release thunder and lightning as an actual attack. Actually, their wings do the thunder sound, their eyes shoot lightning streaks, essentially. The Ghost Rider manages to take out a couple of these and is about to head after the town again, but then suddenly realizes it's been too late and quickly gets swept up by the water. He then awakens inside of a cave, to which the old woman is attending to him. She presses on a black stone on the collar of her shirt and changes into a young woman, and it tells him that the Montuiti has asked her to show Johnny the past for some odd reason, because apparently they still believe that he's working for the other side, which is why why the Ghost Indian try to stop and fight him in the first place. But obviously they're off, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens next, because even at the end, the comic book announces that the next issue is going to be a big double-wide issue, because it's also going to be the 50th book. So we'll see what happens next, and I will see you there next time. See you all then.